for watching my YouTube channel. My name is Eli Borg with my guest speaker, Aislinn Ford.
Welcome. I would like to ask Eli a few history questions. The first one is, what is Congress?
Well, Aislinn, Congress is made up of two parts, the United States House of Representatives and then the United States Senate. The United States Senate is made up of 100 members, 2 for every state. The state that I live in, our 2 senators are Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith. So since we have 50 states, times 2 for every senator, for every state, that equals 100 senators. For the United States House of Representatives, there are 435. Now this is roughly based upon population. So for every 1 representative, there is roughly 700,000 people. But a state like Wyoming doesn't even have 700,000 people. So every state gets at least 1 representative. Does that solve your answer?
It does, thank you. My next question is, what is the presidential line of succession?
Well, the presidential line of succession is if the president dies, it goes on a list. So I'll go through the list. If the president dies, which his name is Donald Trump, then the sitting vice president of the United States would then become president. Now, his name is Mike Pence. But let's say Mike Pence, the vice president, dies. Then the Speaker of the House, which is Nancy Pelosi, then becomes president. But let's say Nancy Pelosi dies, then what is called the President Pro Temp of the Senate, then will become president. And his name is Chuck Grassley. Well, Aislinn, do you know what the President Pro Temp of the Senate is?
I do not. Would you like to tell me?
I will. Well, the President Pro Temp of the Senate is the longest serving U.S. Senator. So right now, his name is Chuck Grassley from the great state of Iowa. So now, let's say the President Pro Temp of the Senate, which we now know is the longest serving senator, dies. So now it would be the Secretary of State. Now his name is Mike Pompeo. Now it would go after the Secretary of State, it would go on a line of secretaries. From the top, which is the Secretary of State, the longest, to the newest, which is the Department of Homeland Security. Does that solve your answer?
It does. I have one last question. How can the Congress pass laws?
Well, to pass a bill, it has to start from the Senate or from the U.S. House of Representatives. So for this example, I will start in the U.S. House of Representatives. So a representative will have to come up with a bill. So after they come up with a bill, they will have to give it to an appropriate committee. Now there are 20, I don't know the exact number, but 20-some committees in the United States House. So let's say I want to have a tax bill. Now that bill would go to the tax committee. The tax committee would discuss this in the House, and then they would vote on to have the full House vote on it or to not even let it pass. So let's say it passes through the committee. Then the full United States House of Representatives would, how many members does it have? 435. How many members are there in the United States House?
435.
Correct. So now all 435 members get to vote. So they have to at least have 218 members to pass a bill. So it passes. Now it will go to the United States Senate, and then the same thing will go all over. It would go to the appropriate committee. They would vote on it, then go to the full Senate. Now, to pass through the Senate, it will have to have a majority of 51 senators to pass. But since there's 100 senators, it could have a tie of 50-50.
50-50.
Yes. So do you know who would cast the vote if there is a tie?
I do not.
The sitting vice president of the United States would then cast the vote. And his name is Mike Pence, if you remember. So, let's say there's a tie. Mike Pence will then vote, and he can pass it or deny it. So let's say it passes through the United States Senate and it passes through the United States House. So then it would go to the president's desk. He can do a thing called a veto. Do you know what a veto is, Aislinn?
I do. Isn't it when someone stops the law?
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of.
So the president of the United States, which his name is Donald Trump, can veto a bill. Now, a veto is he can reject it and it would have to go through the House and Senate again, or they cannot even pass it. It'll just disappear. But let's say he doesn't veto and he says, well, that tax fund is good. He can do his fancy signature and then that there would become a bill. So do you understand how a bill is created?
I do. That is all my questions, but I would like to ask if you have anything else to say.
Well, now I think I just want to say the U.S. Representatives part is kind of confusing. So, do you remember how many U.S. Representatives there are?
435.
Correct. So remember that magic number, 435. Now remember that is based on population. So for every one U.S. representative from each state, roughly represents 700,000 people. So a state like California, they have millions of people. But a state like Wyoming doesn't even meet 700,000. So each state gets at least one. So the United States House of Representatives is based on population, while the United States Senate is based on a set number of 2 senators from each state. And so I think that should wrap it up. Thank you for watching, and thank you Aislinn Ford and my wonderful sister Haley Borg for helping me do this wonderful video. I hope that this will help you pass your history test and that you'll get a good grade. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day. Bye!